Look! Look, the dynamic duo! I got
Anyway, guys, welcome to the dynamic duo. I am Franz.
Stop it! You were Wolverine, but at least for today. I'm Kevin, and welcome to, in this case, Xavier's Mansion and the Batcave, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. By the way, check this out. I can make the claws disappear like this, and I can make them reappear like this. Right. Listen, we've got a couple of really hot topics to talk about. I cannot wait to get your opinion on those. We're going to talk about two different subjects. Certainly, how do you put it? The ape? How do you put it?
The mean monkey and the irritated lizard.
The mean monkey and the irritated lizard. What did you watched it? What did you think?
Yeah, honestly, I watched it first thing this morning. I really liked it.
By the way, is this a spoiler review or is this a non-spoiler review?
Well, I mean, it's. I'm gonna try to keep spoilers out of it to a point.
Okay.
There might be a few here and there, but I'm not really going to spoil anything for anybody. Okay. I did like it. My only thing is, and I'm begging Warner Brothers to leave this alone. The way the story ended, in my opinion, it's finished. They want to do another movie. Actually, their plan is to do 2 more. I will slap them if they mess with this. The movie ended perfectly.
Yeah.
It's my only other, or if there's a complaint in there at all, is that some of the plot points that they ended up making, at least with some of the characters, they could have almost left some of them out of the movie completely because they didn't really add that much to the story. They didn't hurt the story, but there were certain things that were going on that were sort of like, okay, this is getting a little contrived and a little extemporaneous, and you don't need all of this in order to tell the story. But I loved it.
I love that you loved it because it's a movie that's meant to be loved. In other words, it's a popcorn movie. Yeah. It's a fun movie. It's a just go and have a good time and put your analytical hat behind you and just watch 2 monsters go at each other. And in that sense, they delivered because I was on my, several times I was like this, man. My fists were clenched. I'm like, the battle's on type of thing. And I love the way they give Godzilla and King Kong sort of attitude. Godzilla in particular, he has this look that he gives you, like,
yes.
Like, and by the way, it's a crazy thing, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's the way they made Godzilla is like Godzilla is just a guy waiting for a fight. Like that's all he is. There's a guy looking for a fight. Mm-hmm. That's the craziest concept I've ever heard. Like he's just a guy who's sitting around waiting for the guy. And the moment he finds out, like, wait, what? What did you think you can come for me, bro?
I mean, not meaning to cut you off, but I have I have to add this to what you're saying. You couldn't be more correct, because in the one scene, and I know you'll know what I'm talking about. In the one scene where they're literally getting ready to have the second half of their fight, when Kong calls him out and Godzilla has his back to him, he almost turns around like he's human in the sense of, who do you think you're growling at? And it just works. It's like, okay, you want to throw down again?
Yeah. And and not to give too much of a spoiler, but I've seen some reviews and they're like, well, this is not a definitive, definitive win or what. No, there's a definitive win. There's a definitive win. And somebody gets in somebody's face and says, bro.
This is partly why I said I'm really hoping, although it's a business factor, so 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, they're going to continue with their contract idea.
Yeah.
But I don't want another movie.
It's a very complicated subject, to be honest with you. Because when you look at a movie like Godzilla, for example, and you look at the history of Godzilla, and I was looking at it yesterday, they were making a Godzilla movie pretty much every year for like a long time. 1965, 6, 1967, 1968, and then there was a little break, and then 1970 blah, and it was like one after the other.
Yeah.
And they were just putting him out. And when you watch Godzilla, you have to just accept it for what it is. Like you just have to accept it for what it is. And the question becomes, how do you bring that material to today's day and age? And I think, you know what? Yeah, they did an excellent job. It's a throwdown, it's a fight, and that's all it is. That's all I'm looking for is an attitude. You know what I mean? Just an attitude.
Now I have to give the creators a huge thumbs up, and I really do. And here's the thumbs up.
Okay.
I loved the whole interaction between Kong and the little girl Gia with the sign language. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
And if I'm spoiling that for anybody, I'm sorry, but I just thought that was a brilliant idea to do.
This is a semi spoiler review, and we'll put that in the title. This is a semi spoiler review. We won't spoil the whole thing, but we can, because it's already been a couple of days, and the spoilers that we're giving are pretty obvious. It's in the trailers and things like that. Listen, a movie like this, right? There's there's a lot of the story is not the human side is not exactly. The story is not exactly the best story around. It doesn't make the most sense on the planet. But for me, the way I look at a movie is you've got a concept and you have suspension of disbelief, right? And you come into it accepting that a man can fly or that there are giant lizard monsters. And then once you accept that, then what you ask for the movie is not to then insult your intelligence with what's being given. And while the plot, the plot wasn't exactly, the challenge they had was, how do we tell that story and have a story? Because they're just monsters, How do you tell a story around a monster? So they fill in the human stories, which don't really quite fit into, but they do the best they can. To me, it didn't insult my intelligence. To me, it didn't stop my enjoyment of the movie. And when I just looked at it as a fun, who's gonna win, Godzilla versus Kong, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
Again, I agree with you. And just to clarify, if I can, part of why I said it was the brilliant idea in terms of the sign language is because scientists and researchers have been using sign language with chimps, monkeys, apes for decades.
Absolutely.
And that was a brilliant thing to do. It was just very, very smart. But as you said, it's an incredibly entertaining movie.
It is. And as you said too, there's two things about the sign language that I absolutely agree with you that is brilliant. And it fit the story. It fit why Kong did some of the things that he did. And the reason is because Kong has clearly a higher level of intelligence. As a character, he's always had that. And he's had communications with human beings. That's been part of, so it's not a stretch at all whatsoever for that creature to have been able to learn sign language, given that gorillas in the past, in actual life, have learned sign language. So yeah, I agree with you. That was a brilliant delivery. And again, like, you know, it's funny when I watch these movies. The one thing, I don't know if you feel the same. I always feel bad, like when I see the destruction that they cause in the cities. Like, it's one thing to destroy a mountainside, but I always feel bad. Like, damn it, that's a lot of work, and a lot of people are being killed, like randomly. Like the tail is just destroying a building. So, but that's part of the charm. Also, it's just how destructive, how destructive these creatures are. And
again, not to sound silly, but I've done the same thing. And one of the things that, in terms of feeling bad, although it's part of their job, I feel bad for a lot of the model makers and special effects people because they put in so much time and so much effort. It's like, we're going to blow that up. It's only going to be on screen for 3 seconds.
I know.
That drives me nuts, but I love it at the same time.
At least now, I think with CGI, I don't think they build the, you know, like Star Wars had to do that, you know, build the actual models and stuff. But I think now with CGI, maybe they don't have to build them. I don't know to what extent, but I don't think they have to build the models as much anymore. You know,
no, I mean you're right. I mean, certain filmmakers still make them build models and build full scale sets.
Yeah,
I mean, one of the big movies that's coming soon, with Black Adam. They're building everything from scratch.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I've already seen some behind the scenes shots, and they're building everything.
Wow, that's interesting.
J.J. Abrams actually did the same thing with The Force Awakens because he drove them nuts with that. That's
interesting. I wonder why, though, because clearly the non-actual building sets is working. It's so seamless now that you're hard-pressed to tell the difference. Like when you watch The Mandalorian, for example, you're hard-pressed to tell the difference between real and set, you know what I mean? And so it's an interesting choice to do that. And I wonder if it's more, I mean, I imagine it must be more expensive, you know what I mean?
It is. I mean, part of the big deal with it is it's an aesthetic choice and an artistic choice for who's in charge.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the big things that Lucas got in trouble for later with the prequels. They did so much CGI work that it kind of took away from certain other aspects of the movie.
Agreed.
And people were sitting there saying, okay, they didn't do this.
Yeah. It comes down to delivery. And I definitely agree with you. Like the episode 1, like it just seemed, too much. It's and Jar Jar Binks didn't help the situation either. Just talk about let's continue the conversation briefly, but spoiler alert, Godzilla vs. Kong, spoiler alert. Okay. So if you haven't seen the movie, now's the time to get off and go on. But now, spoiler alert, I love the fight that Godzilla was going down on King Kong, man. He's scratching his chest with his feet. Godzilla, they made Godzilla no joke in this movie. And that last scream, when he's screaming at like King Kong, he's basically saying, bro, don't you dare. You better know who the king is.
One of my favorite scenes, and this is along the line of what you said a few minutes ago about special effects and busting everything up. Godzilla is supposed to protect the human race. Did you notice that in one of the major scenes before the fight even got underway, when he shows up in New Japan, he comes up right underneath of a bridge that is full of people, full of vehicles. It's like, y'all gonna die. Just see you later. And the whole, I don't care what I just did attitude.
Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right. Yeah, Godzilla, it's interesting because he defends the human race, but he does not from the point of view of defending the human race.
Right.
It's more from the point of view of don't challenge me. Like, don't even exist on a challenging scale, and I'm just gonna come for you. And that ends up protecting the human race because the monsters are just going around destroying things, and Godzilla comes and destroys them, and so this destruction stops, and Godzilla goes back to it's a fascinating thing to me that they just make him a guy who's waiting for a fight. Like he's just waiting for a fight. He's like, what's happening? You think you can fight me? I'm coming. I'm just coming.
I mean, I have to tell you, I was hooked 3 seconds into the credit sequence at the very beginning of the movie when they were showing the clips of deceased, and showing you everybody that between the two of them they've gotten rid of. It's like, okay. It was nothing but a laundry list of who's gone.
Now let me ask you this: were you rooting for anyone in particular? Do you have a favorite or?
I love both characters. I have to tell you, I'm a little bit more toward the Godzilla side, and I kind of knew that they were going to lean a lot of the fight in Godzilla's favor because of the blast that he can throw, because Kong can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, if Kong gets his hands on you, you've got a problem. But that ray that Godzilla uses, it's sort of like, okay, he just hit me and it hurt.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a heavyweight fight and getting hit with a haymaker. It's like, I don't have to do anything. Just let me open my mouth and watch my eyes and everything glow. And once they do, that's your butt.
Yeah. And the truth be told, that ray should be able to cut Kong in half, to be honest with you, because of what it's able to do. But having said that, Kong, having arms, can really pummel Godzilla in a way that renders him defenseless because he doesn't have as many, as much size. So it was a heavyweight fight, and they each have their advantage. And Godzilla has the tail, and Godzilla. Yeah. But it was interesting. Again, it's just interesting. I watched the original Kong versus Godzilla fight again just to see how it compared between the two. And of course, the original concept, the CG, it was really ridiculous. But it's interesting just how they come at each other. And I don't know. For me, I remember as a kid loving Godzilla, but wanting Kong to win. Yeah. I wanted Kong to be the winner. And I remember as a kid convincing myself that Kong had won the fight. Now, I think I was looking at the original Japanese version, because when I watched the American version remake, the fight wasn't what I remembered it to be. It wasn't what I remembered it to be. For some reason, I remember in the original sort of Godzilla walking away into the ocean.
He did.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He didn't exactly quit, but it was sort of like, okay, I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah, exactly. But and the one that I watched on YouTube from Universal Studios, that's not exactly what happened.
No.
But a part of me, the truth is, I didn't have a side, and but it was interesting how definitive they made the fight. Like, they made it definitive because essentially Godzilla killed Kong. I mean, This is spoiler, but he killed him. And when he screamed at him, he was like, "You're dead. You're nothing to me. I am the king. I am the badass of this relationship." And Kong's response was, "Yeah, you kind of, yeah, you got me." It was like, "Damn it, I hate you, but you got me. So that's funny. So anyway, that's our review for Kong vs. Godzilla.
This looks like a job for Superman.
Hey, look! It's Spider-Man!
The dynamic duo return next week. Don't miss it.